the United States and UK attempts to ignite a regional war by launching a highly illegal airstrike on the country of Yemen. The United States and UK are bombing Yemen because Yemen are performing their duties in resisting a genocide by any means necessary. Yemen has stated multiple times that they will end their blockade once Israel ends its brutal genocide of the Gazan people. So the United States and UK is willing to risk World War III in order to protect Israel's right to murder children? And I cannot stress enough, what President Biden did here is highly illegal. In a rational society, Joe Biden would be impeached for not getting congressional approval before launching these strikes. That's Article 1 of the Constitution. The president needs congressional authority before they can launch airstrikes like this. These people are lawyers. They know what the Constitution says. They are criminals. They are breaking the law on purpose. Remember how Democrats try to tell us that Donald Trump was unique in the sense that he didn't care about the rule of law or Constitution? Everything they say about Donald Trump is a projection. I do not believe it's a coincidence that we had these illegal attacks on Yemen exactly at the same time that South Africa was presenting their genocide case against the state of Israel. The United States, UK, and Israel know that their international criminal cabal is coming to an end, so they are willing to go out guns blazing.
The real question is this: is all this legal? Absolutely fucking not.
Has died. He was tortured, extorted, incommunicado. I cannot accept the way my son has died. He was tortured, extorted, incommunicado for 8 months and 11 days, and the US Embassy did nothing to help my son. The responsibility of this strategy is the dictator Zelensky, with the concurrence of a senile American president, Joe Biden.
I mean, when I woke up to the news, I was obviously shocked. A lot of people weren't necessarily surprised, because for those who have been following the war in Ukraine, if they've been active on Twitter, people will know the name of Gonzalo Lira. But for those who don't, can you just give us a quick introduction? Who is this deceased journalist, blogger, activist almost?
Yeah, well, Gonzalo was a very colorful character, very outspoken. He had a very distinct style. And as you say, anybody following on Twitter, he had a big Twitter following. Most of the dissenting sites on social media, Twitter, YouTube, Telegram, would know the name Gonzalo Lira. And he was almost unique in that he was one of the last dissenting voices, certainly foreign voices, in Ukraine, Saskia.
I mean, despite obviously claims from Western political elite and the media that Ukraine is a nation that, like the US, embraces the freedom of speech, we've seen indications in the long time in the making that that is not the case. So what is it specifically that got Kiev a bit wound up? Why was Lira behind bars?
Yeah, well, essentially, I think it was because he was based in Kharkov, a predominantly Russian city, quite eastwards in Ukraine, and he had continued to broadcast from within Kharkov. He'd been threatened, of course, but he had persisted. And his...
What's poppin', my friends, my family? Welcome back. This is the second episode of Nick at Noon. We are having a great time making Nick at Night Season 2, Nick at Noon as well. Let's see how long I can hang in today. I'm very nervous. There's big weather. There's like blizzards of snow everywhere right now. That's why I got my RBN hoodie. What's poppin'? I hope the internet holds up. I've been having some internet issues the last 24 hours because of the weather. Hopefully everything holds up. If not, I can always unlist this stream and cut the clips for later. That was my mindset. But I had to go live to cover this today because I watched Gonzalo Lira streams before because I was looking for as many different sources as I can that wasn't mainstream regarding the Ukraine war. And when it came to the Ukraine war with so much propaganda being spread, I found myself watching news sources I didn't before. And Gonzalo Lira was someone who I didn't watch like all his streams, but I watched a few of them. Especially he had like all these big guests on, a lot of these experts. And I knew that he was in Ukraine. He mentioned it during his streams, that he's streaming in Ukraine. And I was thinking about his content, and I'm thinking like, bro, are you sure you know what you're doing? Are you okay? Like, he was talking about how he was harassed by Ukrainian government officials before. And I'm watching his content. I'm seeing his tweets of like the way he covered Ukraine was very similar to the way that we cover Ukraine. And I'm like, bro, you are living in a fascist regime where they don't hesitate to kill opposition. But I was assuming like, all right, maybe he knows something that I don't know. maybe he has like a layer of protection I'm not aware of. So when I saw that he was arrested 8 months ago, I was like, damn, man. Damn. Here we go. I knew exactly what was going to happen to this guy. It's very bone-chilling because they're sending a message. They're sending a message that they can kill you. Gonzalo was a United States citizen, fam. He's a United States citizen. They send a chilling message that any of these fascist regimes that the United States support, if they want you dead, they can kill you, and our government won't do anything about it. Anthony Blinken, Joe Biden haven't said anything about it. The corporate media has been quiet as a mouse. So I'm not too familiar about all of Gonzalo's politics. I mostly followed him for Ukraine. Everyone who was in the foreign policy community, like, what? Like, we've seen this coming. That's why it's so crazy. And yeah, I know, Jesse, I live in a fascist regime too. Big shout out to everyone watching and leaving comments. I see it. I see some every once in a while. We are so they want us dead, and they will kill us. And that's going to be a big part of the theme of today, is this genocidal, I call it the axis of genocide. I've been calling it the new axis of evil for some time now, but it's this new axis of genocide. And this is the United States, this is Ukraine, this is France, this is Germany, this is the UK. These are all the countries that are coming out against the ironclad arguments that South Africa made, laying out how Israel had intent and committed a genocide. And what do all these states have in common, since we're covering the Gonzalo Lira story? These are the same countries that have, over the last few years, you can argue even longer, but let's keep it simple. For the last few years, they had a violent reaction to adversarial journalism. These are the same countries that support the United States torturing and killing Julian Assange. Remember, the United States provided cover for Israel as Israel killed Shireen Abdul-Akleh. And you have Israel during their campaign in Gaza that has killed over 100 journalists. So this axis of genocide that we're seeing, they sponsor the death of not only their enemies, never-ending war, they sponsor the death of journalists. Call me paranoid if you want, but there's a good chance. I worry for like Rome's health all the time. I try to keep the details of my personal life extremely discreet because I have threats to my life before. Like, this is the kind of stuff, especially where the empire is in its late stages, especially where the United States can't win a war. The United States empire is constantly being embarrassed. They can't get rid of the Asar Allah. in Yemen. They lost to the Taliban in Afghanistan. They lose in the Ukraine war. They stand no chance against China. They couldn't get rid of Nicolas Maduro. The empire is a paper tiger, as Mao said. And it has been exposed over and over again. The masses are being awoken. People are becoming more class conscious. People are not falling for the propaganda no more. So now we are seeing the illusion of the rights that you have been given being stripped away. They always was temporary. And now we are seeing our establishment double down on their fascist tendencies. And I titled the video the way I did because I don't want anyone to mistake it. Gonzalo Lira was murdered by the Ukrainian regime, and Blinken and the Biden administration is doing nothing about it. As they said, as they've been virtue signaling about how the Democratic Party is standing up for journalists, as they've been pretending that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy because of his threat toward journalists, they are the leading, and I'm talking about the Biden administration and the West as a whole, they are the leading threat against journalists. Hundreds of journalists was killed in Gaza by Israel, and the Biden administration can't say anything. You had a United States citizen that was murdered by fascist Nazis in Ukraine, and Blinken can't say anything. Is it clear now why my politics has been U.S. bad ever since I became an active citizen journalist? The same people who are becoming radicalized right now because of the Israel campaign, the Bernie Sanders left, many of those people criticized me before because of that. They said RBN and Socialist MMA, their politics, his politics is nothing but the United States is bad. And whenever they said that, I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? Of course, that is my politics. That should be the politics of anyone who's for liberation of people, for the liberation of the working class, the people who are anti-genocide. You don't have to be a Marxist. If you are for international law, if you're for law and order, like, it's crazy. It's crazy. The West has lost their mind so much. They make me sound like I'm a law and order guy. I'm an abolitionist. Like, well, and I've been thinking about this. Like, honestly, what we want is equal application of justice. That is what we always been calling for. That is what abolitionists want. We want justice. We call for the abolition of the police state because the police state is not providing justice. What we want and what people in the global South want is international law. We want the Geneva Conventions to be real. We want the UN to be real. It is not real. This white Western European society you guys built up is not real. It's might makes right. White class dominated people can do whatever they want. If you're upper class and you're white, you can do whatever you want. If you're black and brown, if you come from the black and brown countries, all of a sudden, you're a war criminal. You know, you had France, and I got this receipt saved for you guys later, that said that there was a genocide in Ukraine, fam. There's a genocide in Ukraine where white people was dying. That's why, thank God that Due Distance is doing so well. Thank God for Keaton Weiss and Russell, because Keaton came on my show and he explained, he was open about the fact that the reason why we have U.S. imperialism is because of racism. Due Distance and their willingness to tell the truth about these things is why they are so popular now and why they do better numbers than Kyle Kulinski, David Dole, and many other people. Because that's why Emmanuel Macron, that's why Canada can say that there's a genocide in Ukraine, because white people died. Meanwhile, we've seen the most barbaric war in my lifetime, and that's by the numbers. More children killed in a few months than 2 years of wars combined. In 2 weeks, more children died in Gaza than in Ukraine combined. The entire war. But they say that's not a genocide. But the brown kids dying is not a genocide. How can anyone who is black and brown and consider themselves an ally, and consider themselves a fighter against the racist scourge of humanity, how can they see this and stay silent? It's the most belligerent offensive form of racism I experienced in my life, what we are going through right now, this violent hypocrisy. What have I said on RBN multiple times? The highest form of corruption is this weaponized violent hypocrisy of the West. That's my monologue for the beginning of the show. I gotta just shut up sometimes because I got a lot to get to. I'm gonna try to keep these shows to around 60 minutes to 90 minutes, but Saturday shows may be a little bit longer because on Saturday my plan is just to get through all the stuff I have planned for you guys. So let's just continue. That's my monologue to start my show. These shows I usually start with a monologue because I can't help myself. Hopefully you guys like and subscribe. I'm putting one super chat as well. I learned super chat. They help me edit my videos as well. I'm learning these tricks, man. That's why I'm very excited about Nick at Night season 2 because everyone who followed my original YouTube channel, SocialistMMA, like there's a reason why that channel didn't pop up. You know what I mean? I wasn't good at being a YouTuber. I wasn't good at being a commentator. I didn't know how to edit videos. My internet was bad. I feel like through the years, through working with CJ, through working with Sabby, through doing Nick and CJ show, I've sharpened my skills at this. So I'm very excited for Nick at Night, Nick at Noon season 2. I'm very excited that you guys have been enjoying the program thus far. So I'm gonna try to take these breaks so I can read super chats that help me with my editing. I'm learning again better. You guys have been with me on this journey, being a citizen journalist. I appreciate it. If you guys want to like, subscribe, help share the stream, I'm gonna get into my planned segments now. That might like my monologue. I'm gonna just show you guys who haven't seen this because there's been everyone on Twitter. Like this has been trending. The corporate media trying to ignore this the best they can. But I think, and this is why I'm discussing this right now in our stream, and we had to dedicate time for this. I've seen a lot of our allies discuss this as well. Like we know our friends do Dissidents. They co-host with Jimmy. They've been hosting Jimmy's show. They had Danny Hype on. They was covering it. The Gray Zone covered it. So this is something that everyone's talk about because this proves my thesis correct once again. I told you guys the number one threat of journalists is the axis of genocide. That is our new term for these people. They're the axis of genocide. And the axis of genocide are the people who are waging this offensive, violent war against journalists. Here's Alex Rubinstein, and this is the first person that I saw break this. Breaking, it is with great sadness, I must announce Gonzalo Lira has passed away in a hospital, according to his father, who has been fighting to get his son much-needed medical attention for the past weeks. Here is a handwritten note from Gonzalo, and he explained he had double, I read it before, double pneumonia. He had swelling of the body, and all this stuff was ignored by the prison. He was in very bad shape. So he was killed. Like he was tortured and slowly left to die over the course of 8 months. Like this is probably the worst way to possibly go. This is the worst way to go. And it's very chilling. Obviously, obviously there's a lot of investment I have as someone who in the empire who speaking about a lot of dangerous stuff to see they just killed this guy in the most brutal way, man. Like they allowed him to die without medical treatment. God knows the level of starvation, beatings. Like this is the stuff of horrors and nightmares, man. Because he exposed the Ukrainian regime. These are the gangster and thugs that that is governing us. But you have people that are disavowing revolution, like Olayemi and Constance Lee. CJ, I know you're watching. We might get to them later next week. You got people rejecting and speaking out against revolution as we are governed by criminals, man. Big shout out to Martin I appreciate the super chat. But more than the super chat, I appreciate you being on the streets. More like for real. More than the super chat, I appreciate you. Oh, he said watch. I thought he said it was at the march. I read it again, so my bad. But I do appreciate the super chat. And I'm gonna see if I can get some live footage of the march on Washington as well. Maybe we can do a quick segment on that. But that's the Gonzalo Lira segment. I'm gonna show you guys why I've been calling this the axis of genocide that we are dealing with. You have Germany and Canada, and we're seeing the white-dominated imperialist powers who committed genocide themselves. They obviously now going to support the most brutal white supremacist violent campaign we see in our lifetime. And now Germany is a very disgusting country and very disgusting group of people, considering that they sponsored the Holocaust, and now that they're allowing their Holocaust guilt, the crime that they as a country and they as a culture committed, they're allowing that Holocaust guilt to justify the genocide and slaughter of Palestinian children and Palestinian culture. Is there anything more disgusting than that? When Germany said never again, what they meant is never again that goes on in our country. We will help our allies commit genocide again, but we don't want to be completely complicit with this. So Germany to intervene for Israel at ICJ. U.S., Canada says case is baseless. The United States, Canada, and Germany have expressed their support for Israel in the International Court of Justice genocide hearing against Israel. Of course they did. Of course they did. There's so much guilt because their ancestors committed the worst atrocities. So now they are committing atrocities themselves. And I want to emphasize it's the government, the overall culture that leads to these people getting power. That's the criticism, because in Berlin, I do want to be clear here. There are people who are protesting in Germany and France and the UK about this. But the overall culture that leads to the rise of the ruling class, the energy that leads to the ruling class, that is the criticism that we need to levy on these people. And my words may hurt your feelings. I see some people upset. But white America and European society throughout the entirety of my lifetime has never held their tongue regarding criticisms of the global South. They advocated for genocidal policies and genocidal sanctions because of people choosing different economic models. People support the Cuban embargo because Cuba made the mistake of choosing a different economic model. You have white Americans and white Europeans who hate the DPRK in North Korea, and they can't even tell you why. Their people and their ancestors killed 3 million Koreans. 3 million. They committed a genocide in Korea because those people chose a different economic system than them. And now those same people hate North Korea for some reason. After you guys killed 3 million of those people, and then the United States and UK sanctioned those people, and you guys say they deserve that too because they chose a different economic model, because you guys have a judgmental mindset against anyone who have a different system than you guys do. But then at the same time, you guys are upset at me because I do not hold my tongue about how I view you guys' society. The same society that many of you guys people believe is the peak. Many people believe this is the peak society. It is not. It's the most violent, unhinged society that we have seen in modern human history. And these same people have the nerve to judge Nicolas Maduro. They have the nerve to judge Iran, judge China, judge Russia. They brutally judge non-white countries. And then when black and brown people tell you guys the truth about your country, you guys say, hold back. And I'm not singling anyone out on the screen here, but I've seen people, oh my God, what you say about Germany? What you say about Europe? I said what I said. Because you guys have been talking shit about Africa, South Africa, South Africa, South America, all these countries my entire life. You guys hate Cuba. You guys hate everybody. And then when we criticize your guys' countries, you guys freak out. This is not the channel to subscribe to and watch if you want a channel to protect white feelings. The society that you guys have built is trash. They are genocidal societies that has a poor white working class, despite the fact that you guys stole billions from the global south. How is that possible? You guys got millions of homeless in this society. Tell me what country is sanctioning the United States of America? You guys stole the wealth of the United States and the global south, and I'm talking about the society and the culture as a whole. You guys stole billions of dollars. You got a poor white working class. What kind of society is this? I'm done holding back. RBN, I'm done. Like we already shadow banned. They already fucked our channel up. So why should I hold back anymore, CJ? Savvy Rome? No reason to. We already fucked. They already killing journalists. So I'm not holding back. We're in a historic time where there's a historic genocidal trial on right now, and I am seeing white-dominated societies sided with genocide, and people want us to hold back. This is why you won't see me on the Hill. This is why you won't see me get the invites you see other people get, because I am not willing to hold back in this critical revolutionary period. And that is the response to some of the criticism I see in the comments who are upset at my tone right now. I'm not going to single you out because I'm not trying to do that. But I just have a response. This is my criticism of this axis of genocide. Meanwhile, you want to know what Justin Trudeau said about Ukraine? When white people was dying? When you had neo-Nazis in Ukraine that was being killed? Prime Minister Justin Trudeau agrees Ukraine war is genocide. So that's a genocide where less children died in a few weeks than, less children died in the entirety of the Ukraine war than died in like 2 weeks in Gaza. But according to Justin Trudeau, the blackface wearing, unhinged, genocidal, psychopathic racist that Canada voted for, by the way, this is why I criticize the culture and society that led to this. They voted for this guy. This person see white children dying, that genocide. He see Gazans, he see Muslims dying, and he said not a genocide. At what point do we completely throw civility politics away? Civility politics is not a fucking thing to me no more. I don't care how many subscribers I lose. I've been stopped caring about this. I've been stopped caring about views. I've been stopped caring about all this stuff. Civility politics is dead. We are here. Cat Williams started this. Like, we are here to tell the truth in 2024. We don't care who feelings get hurt. My response to people is prove me wrong. We're the only people who quote the law. People calling Hamas terrorist organizations with no proof, with no citations. Hamas is in the right defending themselves against a genocidal occupier state, as outlined by the UN, is their right as occupied people to do. Meanwhile, white dominant society believe the occupying force has the right to bomb civilians, bomb hospitals, and bomb children because the colonized power has to defend themselves as they are colonizing and destroying the culture of another people. Am I supposed to believe that this is an accident? No. White America, and once again, we're not holding back 2024. We gotta lose subscribers because white Americans and white Europeans knew, and they know they benefit from blood money. They got generational wealth that came from slavery. They came from colonialism. So the last bastion of colonialism they see in Israel, Palestine, they see that under assault. And now they are willing to kill as many children, bomb as many hospitals, and they are willing to throw away international law in order to save the last living bastion of violent colonialism going on right now in Israel, Palestine. I need to check myself. I don't mean like that. I need to check myself. There's a lot of stuff going on in the Congo. There's still a lot of colonialism, to be fair. You guys know what I'm saying, though. You guys hear what I'm saying, right? I do. That wasn't 100% accurate. You guys hear what I'm saying, though. Like, Israel, Palestine is one of the most egregious examples, I should say that way, of colonialism that we have seen. And now they are seeing a liberation movement being successful fighting against it. They are seeing public opinion shift towards the Palestinians, and now they're willing to throw away international law in order to fight them. So you have this genocidal court, sorry guys, International Court of Justice that's hearing South Africa's ironclad arguments against the state of Israel. You have their officials that straight out advocating for genocide. They showed up with receipts, and they went to the court and they explained to the entire world that was watching that, hey, Israel, is this you? Is this what you said? The hardest part of proving genocide is proving intent. And South Africa did that in the most brilliant way that we ever seen. And because of that, you've seen the legal team of South Africa, now the civil rights icons of the world. And I am not exaggerating. South Africa gets nothing. South Africa gets nothing from doing what they're doing. They lose everything. They're a target. I'm fearful of these people's lives, actually. The Mossad will go after these people internationally. They already proved they will with their assassinations in Syria and Iran and Iraq and international waters that could easily promote World War III if we had more insane enemies, right? So I fear for these people's lives. These are the Palestinian people that the amount of happiness that they have just to be acknowledged, let alone fought for in such a well thought for way. This is like the celebrations of Palestinians greeting these lawyers who are our civil rights heroes. I'll let this. And these people completely destroyed Israel. They came with such a well-documented, ironclad argument, proven intent, coming with evidence, and making it clear without having any, without taking side on the Israel-Hamas debate. They said, no matter what you guys say about Hamas, there is no excuse to commit genocide. Genocide is not a self-defense. And as South Africa laid this out, and as the majority of the world agreed, or they used to agree, Israel then came out, made an ass of themselves, and then said, hey, we have the right to commit genocide in self-defense. That essentially was their argument. Another part of their argument was essentially to say that South Africa was Hamas. They made clowns of themselves. And honestly, South Africa destroyed Israel so badly in their arguments, and I'm going to show you guys some examples of Israel just being a nation full of clowns, that the corporate media refused to air any of the South Africans' accusations of genocide. Meanwhile, and look at this tweet here, and this is what a lot of people who've been following this is laying out. You have CNN, BBC, and ABC, and MSNBC that didn't stream Africa's case charging Israel with genocide. So they didn't show 1 second, and I was watching this. Not one segment, not one time did they ever was like, we're going to show you guys the argument that South Africa made. No, they just said, for one, they just didn't cover it. And now that Israel came out with their defense, they blasting out there, especially the BBC has been shameless on this, right? So what does that say, fam? The fact that the corporate media won't air South Africa's argument, but they pretty much live streamed the entire Israeli defense. They are in shambles, fam. The truth has power. These people are scared, and they are resorting to censorship and journalistic malpractice of the highest order to shield Israel. Do you guys understand why I say we are the most propagandized country, and it's not even close? Here's CNN, the Zionist news network, and I'm going to start calling them. Wait till you guys see this segment with Anderson Cooper later, where they pretty much just performed the greatest act of journalistic malpractice, lying to their audience about who the Houthis are, celebrating the bombings of Yemen. That's coming later. So we're going to talk about the Zionist News Network a lot today. Now look at this headline. I don't have time in these more condensed live stream to go over this whole video, but the title alone says everything. Look at this at CNN. One day, Israeli strikes will go too far. One day, it will go too far. We had over 12,000 kids dead. Over 1,000 children had their limbs amputated without anesthesia. But according to CNN, Israel has not gone far enough yet. That's crazy. And this is why you're going to see the horrific coverage of CNN. They're unapologetically the Zionist News Network. And now, like, this whole psyop, what we are seeing right now, has me rethinking everything. I mean, do you guys remember, like, the weaponization of anti-Semitism? We know that's Mossad. There have been people that have been sloppy. There have been people that probably do have some resentment towards Jews. But the conspiracy theory, quote-unquote conspiracy theory that we heard our entire life said by people who are sloppy is that Jews control the media, they control society, and they've been labeled anti-Semitic. The reality is AIPAC and Israel bought our elections. Zionists control our media. Zionists control New York Times and Washington Post, not Jewish people. Zionists, Israel, and the United States control the messaging that we hear through the media. They control our politicians, and nothing is clear. It never been a more clear time than right now. So that is the message that many people were trying to tell. Some people was probably had bad intentions, and there was probably people who were telling the truth, the reality of Zionism, and then the Mossad and the establishment smear these people as, oh, you're saying anti-Semitic tropes, saying that Jews control the world. No one said Jews control the world. No one believes that other than white supremacists, the legitimate anti-Semites. The real argument that I legitimately 100% believe, and everyone should believe now, is that the Zionists completely hijacked our country. We have white America that's willing to sacrifice our First Amendment. They're willing to throw away free speech on behalf of the Zionists. You have Ron DeSantis that literally created an affirmative action program for Jewish Americans after the right wing criticized affirmative actions as the Supreme Court struck it down not too long ago. You guys notice how they created a two-tier society? Affirmative action for Jews. We will suppress your free speech on behalf of the Zionist Jews. So it's 100% a fact that the AIPAC Israeli lobby teamed up with the capitalists and completely bought our system. And I am not tolerant of anyone who tried to say that's any sort of anti-Semitic trope. It is not at all. So let's get into the ICJ. Because the reason why a lot of people are not confident in the ICJ is because of the fact that Zionists are, they already said their number one goal is to pressure the court, to pressure states. That's why their argument is so bad. Their argument has been so bad because they're not even trying to rebuke the arguments. They're not even trying to attack the claims of genocide. What they were doing straight up is, oh, we're going to say South Africa is a mosque, and we're going to use our influence and our pressure, this political power that we built as a Zionist group, to completely delegitimize the court. South Africa's argument has been so strong, and Israel's rebuke has been such a mockery, that the only thing that this court would accomplish by striking this down will be ruining the legitimacy of the court. At this point, the public opinion globally, especially after South Africa exposed Israel, is so strong that if these judges who have, like many of them, like the ICJ and the gray zone plaintiffs as well, have ties to defending U.S. imperialism and genocide, right? I can see them getting it wrong because of this corruption, but even if they do, Israel already been exposed. So I'm going to play this clip. Israel has failed to disprove South Africa's compelling case, period.
The state of Israel today has failed to disprove South Africa's compelling case that was presented before the court yesterday. We stand by the facts, the law, and all the evidence we have submitted yesterday. And we believe and stand very confident that those facts, the law, still are in violation of the Genocide Convention. Under the Genocide Convention, nothing justifies genocidal acts currently being committed by Israel.
That's the most important part, fam. Israel, but anyone who's intellectually honest can see what happened in the last 2 days and see Israel got dismantled, and the only way they are getting out of this is with massive corruption or the U.S. veto in the UN Security Council. Because as South Africa explains that self-defense is no answer to genocide, Israel defense is essentially everyone in Palestine is a mosque. We are defending ourselves, so all these accusations of genocide is null and void. That is not true, you unhinged Zionist.
Self-defense is no answer to genocide. Nothing can ever justify genocide. There is no balancing exercise as Israel has sought to suggest. The prohibition is absolute. It is preliminary rule of law. No matter what some individual within the group of Palestine in Gaza may have done, and no matter how great the threat to Israel's citizens might be, genocidal attacks on the whole of Gaza and the whole of its population with the intent of destroying them cannot be justified at all.
And that is what Israel is trying to do. They're trying to completely throw out and delegitimize international law and make it so if you're a colonial power that has might over colonized people, if they resist your colonization, you can do whatever you want, because then you can say, well, they are arguing against our right to exist as a genocidal colonial power. Since they are against our right to exist as a country, we are allowed to genocide them. That is the precedent that Israel, the United States, and Germany and France are trying to set, and a lot of people are missing this. That's why their tone does not match mine. I'm sorry if I am scaring you. If you're part of the Arabian community, you worry about our chat out this stream. Everyone needs to be at my level of urgency and anger, because we are seeing the axis of genocide led by white-dominated European societies trying to completely throw away the Geneva Convention. You know the whole thing about collective punishment? They like collective who? The United States, Germany, and France, supported by, well, I would say, now I won't point about France and Germany, because I'll talk about what I know. According to polls, and I'm talking about polls, not talking about our allies. Our allies are good, right? They're the people who agree with us. Due distance is good. They agree with us. I am not talking about you guys. I am a facts over feelings kind of person. You guys understand? I am looking at the fact that 7 out of 10 white Americans are supportive of Israel right now, while a majority of black, brown people are like, what the hell is wrong with you guys? So I am a facts over feeling person. That's how I operate. If my facts hurt your feelings, I'm sorry. So the reality of the situation, the facts on the ground is that white Americans, white people in the UK are trying to overthrow the Geneva Convention. They're trying to overthrow the Bill of Rights. They're trying to overthrow the free speech at the chagrin of black and brown people who are trying to stand for international law and the Geneva Conventions. Do you guys understand the state that we are in right now? And with that said, if your feelings starting to get hurt with me saying that, I say that with the caveat of thank God for the white allies who resisting the overwhelming pressure that's coming from their community that trying to get you guys to support genocide. Our friends at Due Distance explain. Katie Hopper explained. Matt Blumenthal explained. All these Jewish people that against this apartheid State of Israel explain how they've been canceled by their communities. White allies are canceled by their communities when they stand for justice. So thank God for you guys. I want you guys to understand that. But I cannot hold back my language right now. I cannot hold back the language. I cannot think about like if I'm gonna upset you guys. I can't think about whether we're gonna lose subscribers, considering where we are in right now, man. We need to be 100% facts over feelings right now. Period. And you guys know that you guys see how hard I go after Black bourgeoisie and what I view as my criticism of the Black community. Not one way. That's how I view general. This is how Marxists view. We need to be scientific. We need to be confrontational. We need to be about the truth, even if it makes people uncomfortable. So that's the warning with at least my program, at least. So here's the argument that the France and Germany and UK and majority of white Americans support. Israel has such lack of respect for international law, such disdain for the concept of an international court of justice. Israel showed up and insulted the courts, insulted people looking for justice with the dumbest arguments you can possibly think of. I've been joking for weeks now. Not joking because I've seen the evidence that this was their plan. I've been telling you guys that South Africa's plan is to say, Israel's plan, legal strategy is to say that you guys should not consider the fact that we're genociding Palestinian people because South Africa is a mosque. I can't even say that as a punchline anymore. I've done it many times in the hotspot videos. I made this joke many times. I did my bit. This is real life. This is the argument they legitimately used that made Canada, Germany, and the United States side with Israel. Let's watch this.
If there are any provisional measures that should appropriately be indicated here, they are indeed with respect to South Africa. It is a matter of public record that South Africa enjoys close relations with Hamas.
It is matter of public record that South Africa enjoys close relationships with Hamas. Ladies and gentlemen, what does that have to do with anything? I don't even have to dispute that bullshit because it's easily disputable. But what does that have to do with the fact that you guys have been bombing hospitals? That you guys have killed 12,000 children and engaging in collective punishment, you guys literally said you guys are. So their argument, because they have such disdain towards international law, is that South Africa is Hamas. And this argument was so moving for white America and Germany and France that they decided to reject genocide claims. Do you guys understand why I'm not holding back anymore? You guys thought I was wild before. Wait till this year. I'm done holding back. I'm done holding back. This society has lost its mind. I weep for my niece, like people growing up now. Like, this shit is about to get really bad and really dark here very soon.
If there are any provisional measures that should appropriately be indicated here, they are indeed with respect to South Africa. It is a matter of public record that South Africa enjoys close relations with Hamas, despite its formal recognition as a terrorist organization by numerous states across the world. These relations have continued unabated even after the October 7th atrocities. South Africa has long hosted and celebrated its ties with Hamas figures.
They are not even trying to address the points that South Africa made. You guys understand, Israel showed up just to insult the idea of international law. These are people who did not take this seriously, tried to show up to a court and use an excuse like this. Like, oh man, you judges, y'all against me because you side with my haters. Man, you side with my haters. What, you like Black Power Media? What, you like the Vanguard? You trying to say I committed this crime? What are you, a TYT fan? What are you, a Vanguard fan? What do you like? You like Black Power media? Imagine if what if I did something illegal? What if I murdered someone and I came to court with those arguments? That's what Israel just did. Now you sided with my haters, fam. Grade school shit. And I cannot emphasize enough. This is why I'm not holding back. The majority of white America, Germany and France, hear these grade school arguments and they're like, yep, sounds good to me. And you guys want me to hold back? I am not. I'm going to show you guys through these streams on Tuesday and Thursday evenings and on Saturday at noon how ridiculous this society is. I'm going to show you guys, and this is why many people can't handle subscribing to RBN. I'm going to show you guys why this white dominated culture that you guys think is great is not. This society and this culture as a whole fall for arguments made by children. This is an argument I made when I was in the 5th grade, fam. Oh, the teacher mentioned the teacher's a hater, man. He sent me to detention because the teachers hate my swag. This is what Israel showed up to international court and argued. White America, Fox News, yes, sound good to me. Robert Kennedy Jr., the hero of white America, because they're not niggas supporting them. The hero of white America hears these arguments and like, yeah, man, I love me some Israel. But I'm going to get banned this year, man. You guys have no idea how happy I am not to be part of mainstream culture. Like, something in me snapped over the last few weeks, as you guys saying. I'm going kind of psychotic seeing dead babies. I got going psychotic seeing hospitals being bombed. I'm going on Twitter. I remember back in the day, I used to go on Twitter to have a fun time. I used to see some memes. We rage against the establishment. I'd be on Twitter on my phone, smiling. Now I go on Twitter on my phone, can't have a good time. And I almost got mad at a few accounts, and I realized I can't get mad at them. I'm like, why am I seeing dead babies every time I log on? Why am I seeing screaming about Palestinian kids every time? I can't have fun on Twitter no more. So yeah, I am probably going a little psychotic. You guys are watching my mental health deteriorate in live time. I admit that. Because this shit is fucking with my soul, man. It's fucking with my soul not only seeing all these dead kids, it's seeing that our society, a vast majority of our society agree with it. I am seeing our society speak out against South Africa's genocide claim. I am seeing Europe speak out against genocide claim. So I'm like, goddamn. I might as well embrace being the fucking Joker. I might as well embrace being Joker because I'm pretty much there. Let's listen to this. Let's continue to watch this insane argument.
These relations have continued unabated even after the October 7th atrocities. South Africa has long hosted and celebrated its ties with Hamas figures, including a senior Hamas delegation that incredibly visited the country for a, quote, solidarity gathering just weeks after the massacre. In justifying instituting proceedings, South Africa makes much of its obligations under the Genocide Convention. It seems fitting then that it be instructed to comply with those obligations itself, to end its own language of delegitimization of Israel's existence, end its support for Hamas, and use its influence with this organization so that Hamas permanently ends its campaign of genocidal terror.
So now that's genocide. You see John Ferryman in White America saying that South Africa committed a genocide. You guys see how up is down? This society is gaslighting us into insanity. What Palestinians doing, fighting for their liberation, according to them is genocide, but not bombing hospitals is genocide. Fam. And this has seeped into the mainstream minds of our establishment to the point where kids in colleges are being blacklisted from future jobs. Free speech on college campuses is dead. Zionists have completely took over free speech in this country. And you guys want me to hold back? People want me to hold back? I am seeing what's going on right now. And you guys can tell I am in absolute shambles over about what I've been seeing over the last few months. I can't hide it. Like some people, like if you watch The Hill, like Breaking Point, all the people like they detach from this shit and they can do it like a professional dance. I'm gonna put my professional on. Today there was 50 children bombed in Gaza. Today Benjamin Netanyahu denied claims of genocide. I can't do that, man. I guess I was doomed from the start. That's why I can't do that. Some people don't like the emotion that I put in this, but I can't, man. This has been fucking me up because this is even more insanity coming from South Africa here. Let's listen. I'm sorry, from Israel Response. This is a good video put together by Hotspot. You guys know Hotspot doing great stuff. Like my friends at Hotspot, man, you guys have to follow them. They've been working like overtime ever since this court, because I've been in group chats with them, like, bro, you guys seen all this shit? They've been scrambling, getting clips together. Like, it's crazy what's going on, man. Meanwhile, people just tweeting about reality TV. People tweeting about other shit. Meanwhile, I can't think about anything else, fam. This ruined my life damn near. I can't think about anything else. I used to love UFC. You know what I mean? I used to watch all these sports. I can't do it no more. I watched the Leon Edwards fight. I watched that. I had to sit down and force myself to enjoy that shit. But meanwhile, people just going on watching sitcoms with laugh tracks. People just doing stupid shit. I mean, as this crazy stuff going on. Sorry, I apologize. I'm not trying to be judgmental. I'm not trying. Let me move on. I'm not trying to be judgmental. I'm gonna show you guys that this is more. Israel just pretty much making a mockery of the court.
An Israeli lawyer lost the definition of genocide during his speech in The Hague.
This is particularly difficult in such an egregious matter as an allegation of genocide. Were understood by the... Right, I've lost a page.
But it was understood correctly by the South Africans whose petition initiated the hearings.
The first genocidal act committed by Israel is the mass killing of Palestinians in Gaza. In the first 3 weeks alone, following 7 October, Israel deployed 6,000 per week, at least 200 times.
But Israel...
You guys realize that at no point in all the clips I've seen of Israel, and some I'm going to show you now, have they ever addressed that claim. They showed up to court and never even tried to debunk the main claims by South Africa. And now do you guys understand why South Africa's argument against Israel was not aired on CNN, on the BBC, and on corporate media in the West? Because if they aired that, public opinion would skyrocket. I promise you guys, I know I'm being harsh on white America right now, but if this was aired, I think a lot of white Americans would turn around. A lot of white Americans are victims of propaganda. I acknowledge that. I am a little bit more forgiving than my tone lets on today. But so if this stuff was actually aired, my criticism would be way less, I promise you guys, because many people would turn against this shit and they've seen the evidence. But the white Americans in charge, the ruling class oligarchs, they know that, so they literally engage in the most rank authoritarianism, cracking down on free speech we've ever seen, and just don't air the South African defense. And you guys see why now. South Africa completely destroyed every argument made by Israel.
Israel, as usual, refuses to acknowledge the obvious, and continues to insist on self-defense.
Some of the comments to which South Africa refers are clearly rhetorical, made in the immediate aftermath of an event.
And that's the argument they use. They say, oh, they bring up stuff we said. That's what he said, rhetorical. He's like, how dare South Africa bring up the statements we said when we said we wanted to commit genocide. Oh, we were just saying that in the heat of the moment, guys. You can't take us seriously. Who hasn't said a genocidal statement when they was mad? Clown shit. Who hasn't said a genocidal statement when it was upset? I want you guys to hear that again, because they say in fancy language the entirety of Israel's argument in a fancy way was the dumbest, most grade school arguments you will ever hear in your life. Listen to this again and translate this. What they're saying.
Self-defense.
Some of the comments to which South Africa refers are clearly rhetorical, made in the immediate aftermath of an event.
So in order to prosecute people on genocide, you must prove intent. The best way to prove intent is to literally quote statement made by public officials that are planned, speeches that are written out. They're not just winging it when they do public appearances. These Israeli officials go on news outlets. They give statements that are prepared, and with these prepared statements, they said genocidal shit. And then while they were saying that, South Africa was just writing it down. They were just writing it down the entire time. And now Israel says, you guys can't use the words that we said. Are you serious? So if you guys have parents and friends, if you're part of our based ass white allies who we love with all our heart, and you have the people who I'm criticizing, and this is why this hurt your feeling a little bit, because you know I'm criticizing your friends and family, why not just show them this? You know what I mean? Why not just sit down your uncle, who's a Zionist, sit him down, show him this video, and show him why Israel's fucking stupid? I don't understand why they haven't been done. Hey, maybe we're on our way. Let's continue.
Which severely traumatized Israel, but which cannot be seen as demanding genocide. How could anyone possibly argue that Israel could not defend itself?
They also tried to cover themselves by citing international law, but that wasn't true either. According to the jurisprudence of the ICJ, Israel cannot claim self-defense against a threat from occupied territory. It's impossible to fool the whole world.
But they keep doing it. Once again, I highly recommend that you guys follow Hotspot. You know, the people who helped me put those videos together that you guys been enjoying. Big shout out to Greg. Like, our editing is getting so fire on those videos. That's Greg that's doing that. This Hotspot that staying up late at night putting these clips together. So Hotspot and RBN, we're partners because I love the work that they do. You know what I mean? I love the work that Hotspot do. This is my last clip, because I gotta move on because I'm definitely not skipping the Yemen story. So this is gonna be a 90-minute show today. I told you guys Saturday probably gonna be a little bit longer than the hour Tuesday, Thursday shows, which usually like 90 minutes anyway. God, how do people only do an hour? Like, how is that even possible? It's so hard to do an hour, man. I only planned an hour show. I'm only an hour in. I haven't even covered Yemen yet. I guess most people got disciplined. Maybe they don't ramble like I do. Maybe that's why. You know it's bad when even the Justice Democrats call you on your shit. Here's another example of Israel just straight up showing up with nothing but plain disrespect towards the court. You know what I mean? Just pure disrespect. So they lied multiple times. I don't got a clip. I know the Graves uncovered it. I try to have like unique takes on these things. The Graves uncovered one of the clips where one of the Israeli lawyers was talking about how they had the right to defend themselves against a terrorist genocidal organization that beheaded babies. And we're like, hold up. You realize you're in front of the court of law and not on Fox News, right? They just spread false information in their legal argument. They spread false and misinformation. How can anyone take anything seriously they say legally after they spread the beheaded babies lie in their defense? Now, here's another lie. They said in their defense that should make them immediately disqualified. What happens when you lie in court? Let's look at this.
Hospitals have not been bombed. Rather, the IDF sends soldiers to search and dismantle military infrastructure, reducing damage and disruption. Indeed, the tunnel that sat directly under the main building in Shifa Hospital was exploded without damaging the building above.
It was exploded without damaging the building above. I have never heard some shit like this in my life, man. Am I wrong? Like, once again, you know what gaslighting is? When you're lied to such a level you start questioning yourself. But the hospital was exploded without you guys bombing it? What? Let's listen to it again. What?
Directly under the main building in Shifa Hospital was exploded without damaging the building above.
What?
The IDF then withdrew from the hospital.
The building was explode. What? I'm literally, my mind is getting fucked up, man.
Indeed, the tunnel that sat directly under the main building in Shifa Hospital was exploded without damaging the building above. The
Bro,
IDF
they said this in the court of law, fam. They didn't blow up hospitals. Don't believe your lying eyes. Once again, we got no love for Justice Democrats, but they're the first people I saw clap back, so I'm going to show them. Justice Democrats said, according to the WHO, Israel has committed 300 attacks on healthcare facilities in Palestine since October 7th. So it's actually good that I'm using the Justice Democrats as a source. It's good that they use the WHO as a source, because even if they can expose your lies, what does that say? Even the WHO is like, God, what the fuck is this? I need to move on, but do you guys see why at this point, this is not South Africa on trial. You know what I mean? Like, South Africa already won. They already proved that Israel committed genocide. At this point, even Israel is not on trial. At this point, the International Court of Justice is on trial. At this point, the quote-unquote rules-based order is on trial. Because Israel made such a mockery of the court, South Africa's argument was so ironclad, if the International Court of Justice rules against South Africa, it's time to tear this shit down. There will be mass riots, and there needs to be mass riots if they strikes this down. Do you guys see how ridiculous the argument that Israel made? Now, God forbid the International Court of Justice side with them. The whole facade will be over if they do. So what I said, before I get to the Yemen story, which I absolutely cannot cut today. So this may be a 90-minute or longer video. I wanted to cover the Taiwan elections, but I definitely probably will cover that Monday. Taiwan had an election today. It's very significant news. The heavily leaning separatist party is winning. But to be clear, every single party is status quo, even the extremely anti-China party. They're status quo. They've been advocating for peace. This is part of my statement. I'm going to put this together longer. I'm going to cut it because I don't want to shortchange it. So I may have a longer breakdown on Taiwan on Tuesday. May bring some smart guy on to talk about it. Another thing to remember, that they won even with only like 40% of the population in Taiwan. The majority of the Taiwanese people went to status quo in China. And these things can change. And I hope that Taiwan, seeing what happened to Ukraine, and they are smarter than the Ukrainians who sacrificed the entire generation of people, thinking the West had their best ambitions. So that's a preview of the segment. I'm going to do a longer version of that segment later. I see you guys. I see some of your guys' comments on solo streams. It's hard for me to read all of them, but I do see some of them. That's why I went off a few of the people who had the feelings at the beginning of the stream. Maybe I should put up a better receipt. Let me put something up better, that if you guys don't want to see the Venom bill. We're going to do a propaganda segment. We're going to show you guys how the corporate media have been covering the illegal bombings in Yemen, which was highly illegal. They didn't mention that, though. Not worthy of mention to their audience. Meanwhile, media, they call us the most far left, most unreasonable network, but we educate you guys on issues. Meanwhile, CNN is going to do an entire statement about bombing of another country without mentioning the fact that what Joe Biden did was illegal. Without mentioning the fact that these Houthis you're talking about, which is actually the Ansar Allah of Yemen, is actually the government of Yemen. They did many segments where they don't even mention that. So we gotta get to that next segment. I'm gonna get some few super chat shout outs. So make sure you leave some super chats if you have anything you want to add to the conversation. After I read these super chats, I'm gonna do one more round before I end the stream. So if there's any questions, if you guys want to diss me or anything, I'm always down for the phone. So make sure you leave some chats. I can get back to. Thank you for gifting some memberships. Gaza West. The U.S. and its allies have to defend Israel. In South Africa, absolutely. I say we go with this. If South Africa can set a precedent, then countries we invaded have standing to put us on trial as well. Which, if you're anti-colonial, if you're anti-war, if you hate the ruling class, like many quote-unquote right-wing populists claim they do, shouldn't they be for that? Wouldn't this provide them a mechanism to lock up Hillary Clinton like they claim they want to? You guys claim you want to lock up Nancy Pelosi. Now, time to prove whether that was true or not, right? You guys see the quote-unquote populists right. They're running away from this shit. Thank you for $5, Sean. Condemning people who resist a siege that lasted a generation is my red line. They're not allies and they sell Palestinians out for a public option. That's Olayemi consciously. CJ sent me videos. Man, they pretty much made a diss track about us without mentioning our name. They're like, man, these people who just do nothing but talk about revolution, they're dangerous. You know, Olayemi. The Democrats, you're like, man, we got to make sure Republicans win. All these people who don't want to stop Republicans, they're against revolution, man. They're dangerous. That's Olayemi, consciously. These people will sell you out for a public option. These people, they see RBN, man, they getting scared, fam. They getting scared. Few more here. Thank you for $5. Israel is just playing in the end game. Even if they are found guilty, it's still the same end point. You're going to stop us? Who and what nuclear army? Absolutely. That's been the international rules-based order, as I explained, is essentially might makes right. Name My Taco, thank you for all the good comments today. Always leave good comments, and thank you for adding a membership. Sociopaths will say anything to reach their goals. That's Zionist. That is what Zionism is. Big shout out to Michael Smith for the solidarity. Super chat. I think we got two more here and we caught up. Thank you for the $5, Sean. Civility politics is guilty liberals preserving a fascist genocidal state that provides them with a comfortable life. They all seem to condemn Hamas. Absolutely. That's why there's only a handful of people that is brave enough to take the stance our RBN has. We are brave enough to refuse to condemn Hamas. Not only do I refuse to condemn Hamas, I celebrate Palestinian resistance victories. Most people are not going to do that. I don't view you as good on this issue unless you want to support Palestinian resistance. The people like Crystal Ball, who have done great reporting on this issue, their solution to this is Palestinians should just die quietly. And if they are so rowdy, Israel wouldn't do anything to them. It's actually a pretty disgusting position when you think about it. If only the Palestinians wasn't so rowdy, Israel wouldn't kill them so much. I don't support Israel killing them. No, I think Israel killing them is so wrong and evil. But if only the goddamn Palestinians would just sit there and die. That's Crystal Ball in a nutshell, fam. Thank you for $5, GV Black. Solidarity with Name My Taco, 5 gifted memberships. My siblings watching the stream. What's popping? The JV Black family is watching the stream. I told you guys, I said, I introduced the segment. My friends, my family. We had the family watching today. Please consider giving RBN on Patreon, as 100% goes to RBN. 100% go to RBN. 100% go to Aaron. 100% go to our team who help us make RBN a thing. Because when we talk about paying people the fair labor value, that's what we truly believe. But we can only pay people with the capital that we have. You know what I mean? So all the capital we get, we try to make sure everyone on RBN is taken care of. But with the suppression, you guys have no idea what, like, our income was cut more than half over the last few months. So like, there's real consequences to it. You guys think we just be bitching about censorship for no reason? You guys think we just bitch about the suppression of our channel for no reason? Man, CJ has kids, fam. You know what I mean? JB has a mother he's taking care of. Like, Rome has kids. This is real shit. Income cut in half. I'm like still sweating over this shit. That's just the reality of it. So if you guys want to help support our journalism, help keep us afloat, make sure we can eat 3 meals a day, supporting our Patreon is the best way to do it. Yeah, more than half. I am not lying. CJ will confirm it. I'm looking at our I am literally fucking shambles, bro. Looking at our revenues, because after October 7th, they cut our videos in half. Sabi says it's because we got shadow banned, which is part of it as well. But after October 7th, they cut our videos in half. And I understand it. We put out bad content and we lost viewership over a long period of time. Like that would happen to the Vanguard and other channels. Like you would see like your support slowly go down. And I can only imagine that's horrifying. Like that would be, if that happened, I'd be like, damn, we really fucking up. What's going on here? We must be not doing a good job with our show. That's not what happened. Like it was like an overnight, October 7th, and then the graph on our show, like if you look at analytics, it's like a graph cut in half. That shit is not organic. I don't want to self-analyze. I'm very hard on myself. I want to admit if I lost subscribers because of my work. But when you see what happened, like pretty much immediately, I have a hard time admitting that organic. You know what I mean? But anyway, I stopped bitching for you guys. Let's move on. Oh, Jesus Christ. How the hell I'm going to do this segment 15 minutes? So we uncovered the Yemen strikes and bombing. I covered it. We almost had like a live segment with Keaton from Due Distance yesterday because the bombing news just struck. And I pretty much had to throw out my entire show on Thursday, the whole intro I planned because I had to cover this because it was such big news. Where the United States and the UK essentially they won a regional war. And I explained this on Twitter. A lot of people not getting this wrong on purpose, but they're saying the United States and UK are willing to risk a regional war with Yemen. What does that mean? What does that mean? Risk a regional war. So are you guys implying that there's a chance that the Ansar Allah would not respond? That's the implication of saying that you guys are risking escalation. No, what the United States and the UK, what they're doing is guaranteeing escalation. They're doing this because they want a regional conflict, because there is zero chance that this will happen, that the United States and UK will kill like 6 or 7 Yemenis people, that you had this gross violation of their sovereignty, and the Ansar Allah wouldn't reply in kind. So the United States and UK know the Ansar Allah are going to respond, so they do that. They do this wanting a regional war. And this framing is something that the media misses, that independent media misses, but extremely important in breaking down their intentions. They want everything that's going on right now. Do you guys, before I play this clip, I need to explain to you guys, and I was doing my research on this today. Their attacks did not work. This is another example of a failed military operation on behalf of the United States and the UK. What have I told you guys on this show? The United States and the UK, they don't win conflicts. They kill people. They cause destruction. The Yemenis people haven't killed one person with their blockade, that which is them being in compliance of the Genocide Convention and resisting Israel. Haven't killed one person. The United States and UK already killed multiple people with their strikes. And by the way, you guys know that maritime traffic is down 70%, according to the Financial Times. Now, I got to dig up my notes because I did my research on this earlier today. According to the Financial Times, 70% of the ships that was bound there was stopped. They are still ships that are being stopped despite the fact that Israel and the UK bombed them. So what's that about? So this bombing didn't accomplish your goal. And they're going to explain this in their propaganda. They're going to say, oh, the United States did this to stop Yemen blockading the ships. But that is not what happened. In fact, more ships are being blockaded than ever now, according to the Financial Times. The Yemen is more motivated than ever now. So you guys didn't accomplish your objective. You guys just spent bombs that will pay the military-industrial complex. It's never-ending complex, never-ending conflict that our establishment wants. So, all right, I'm sorry. You guys have been looking at Anderson Cooper way too long. I have so much to say on this. I'm so sorry, guys. Let me get into the video, because I'm sure this monologue that I want to finish is going to come. A lot of these points are going to come up during this video. So the propaganda we've seen in light of this illegal strike with Joe Biden is unreal. So let's see how much we can get to it. I gotta learn to shut up. I'll let it play, and I'm gonna chime in with And I'm going to explain to you guys. This is crazy. This video is crazy, fam.
Retired NATO Supreme Allied Commander General Wesley Clark. General Clark, what's your reaction to these news strikes?
Well, I'm glad that we followed up. I think we are still doing BDA. We've got to do a better job of targeting. And the way you do it is you strike, you put the eyes and ears back on the area, you watch the reaction, you look at it carefully, and you build your target packages. But in every case, I would hope that we would try to achieve escalation dominance over the Houthis. If they fire one missile.
This is CNN talking about how the United States is going to establish escalation dominance against a country resisting a genocide in their region in waters that they control. Why the hell should the United States have say in what happens in the Red Sea? I'm gonna let it continue because these people unhinged psychopathy, I think, will be clear, and I'm running low on time. So I think you guys, I'm gonna let it play. I'll let it play. God damn it.
Missile, we take out 3 targets. If they fire 3 missiles, we take out 6 targets. In other words, we try to stay away from a tit for tat. And ultimately, if we can't take out the assets they're using to strike these ships, then we've got to go to find assets they value.
One more thing. Sorry, I am sorry. They keep repeating this lie that the United States is attacking Houthi assets, which is essentially government assets. That is a lie. They bombed Sana'a, the capital of Yemen. They killed civilians. They are not going after military targets. Their enemy is the country of Yemen. They keep saying, oh, the Houthis, the fucking Iran-backed Houthis. No, it's Yemen, the country. And they bombed the capital. They killed civilians. And I'm saying this right now because throughout the course of this segment, which I promise I'm going to let play, because I promise you guys, I have to say this, though. They're going to continue to repeat this lie that this is targeted. It is not. They are engaging in collective punishment against the people of Yemen because the Ansar Allah is standing up against genocide. So with that said, I'm sorry, guys. I had to set the record straight. I'm going to try to let it play for as much as I can stomach. It's going to be hard.
Are you more highly?
Fareed, what did these strikes, both last night and this latest round, what do you think it means for the prospects of a wider conflict in the region?
Oh, it definitely increases the prospects, and it has always been true that this is a conflict that is poised to turn into something larger. And the reason is Iran has many allies, and most of its allies are like the Houthis. These are proxy fighters.
I'll get to that lie later. I'm sorry. I'll let it play. That is such an insane lie. I will hold my tongue. I'm going to let this video play, but I just got to let you guys know that is the number one bullshit that's coming out in the media right now. Yemen, the Ansar Allah, who they call the Houthis, run Yemen. They are a sovereign country that makes their own decisions. Calling them Iran-backed is bullshit and propaganda. It is more accurate to call Israel U.S.-backed. It is more accurate to say Germany is U.S.-backed than the nonsense they are saying.
Hezbollah, the Houthis, Hamas, of course. And what the Houthis have done is they have found a way to inflict a cost on, business as usual. So the United States has to respond, and it has to try to achieve escalation dominance.
They said the United States needs to achieve escalation dominance. No, what the United States could do is call for ending the occupation of Gaza, ending their genocide. That is how you end this. What you guys advocate for, bombing Yemen in their capital, is not ending this. According to the Financial Times, 70% of the ships are still stopped. Their action is not ending this. I'm only doing one propaganda video today. I got another one planned, but I got to do another day. And this is crazy.
As Wes Clark was saying, but it has to also try not to let this spread out of control. And that's a very delicate balance. And it's trying to reestablish deterrence while at the same time not itself produce a widening of the war. I'm not sure there's a lot of danger here because the United States could get drawn into precisely the thing that Washington was telling Saudi Arabia to be careful of, which is if you drag yourself.
What do you mean they could? You keep saying that the United States could. This is a risk. This is what I explained to you guys earlier. The United States wants this. Are you guys implying the Ansar Allah gonna be like, oh my God, they bombed us. I guess we got to stop. I guess we got to stop. That is ridiculous. They know that's not going to happen.
Into a Yemeni civil war, siding with one side, attacking the Houthis, that could go on for a long time. So there's that danger. On the other hand, you've got to make sure that the shipping can go through the Persian Gulf. This is the lifeline of much of the world. This is where oil flows to lots of places all over the world.
So you guys see why I'm a socialist and why Kwame Ture said you can't be anti-capital, you can't be anti-imperial without being anti-capitalist. The capitalists and their news networks want to start a regional war in order to save capitalist money. They're willing to risk World War III in mass death in order to save money for capitalists. You guys see how you guys can't be anti-colonialist, anti-war, anti-imperialist without an anti-capitalist approach? It doesn't work. I know you guys are afraid. I know you guys don't want to get canceled among your social circles. I know you guys want to keep viewers on your shows, so you're afraid to call yourself a socialist. You're afraid to call yourself a communist, but I got bad news for you. There's a reason why the anti-war movement has been successful. Anti-war movements that are rooted based on capitalist principles is not going to be successful. You need to be an anti-capitalist approach, and until white America stop being afraid to call themselves socialists and engaging in communist politics, they won't be able to stop this. We almost done. I'm only gonna do one video today. I got more on this, but I'm gonna cover this more maybe on an extra edition on this show. And there's so much to break down here. Like there's a Morning Joe segment that's gonna take me just as long to get through. There's a segment with John Bolton from Fox News. Don't got time for that. There's a segment when Mike Pompeo came on. He said some crazy stuff. Don't have time for that. What I'm saying right now, guys, the propaganda I am seeing right now is the worst I have ever seen in my life. It's the worst I've ever seen. They will go through this entire story without explaining to you guys that Yemen is controlled by the Ansar Allah, the Houthis. But the thing they call the Houthis is the Ansar Allah, the government of Yemen, supported by 80% of Yemenis people. They are not telling you guys that Biden's strike is illegal. He didn't get congressional authority. I'm sorry, I need to continue. I promise you guys, as Nick at Night Season 2 continues, I'm going to get more disciplined with the timing of my segments. I have a very hard time doing it because there's so much stuff to fit in to these new shows, guys. I have no idea how people do 1-hour shows. I have no idea how people cover Yemen. Like, I see people like breaking points. They'll have a Yemen video. That motherfucker be 8 minutes. I'm like, how the fuck you have an 8-minute Yemen video? How the fuck you got an Israel video? That motherfucker 15 minutes. Anyway, let me continue.
Just, I mean, assuming the Houthis are rational actors, what's in this for them? I mean, obviously they are saying this is about the Israel's war against Hamas, or what's going on in Gaza. Is it simply that? Or are they doing the bidding of Iran? Why would they be doing this?
Yeah, I think you have to view this in a broader strategic context, which is Iran has been trying to essentially assert that the American-led Middle Eastern order is not viable, that it contains Iran, it presses Iran. Iran has been sort of put into a box. It's under sanctions. So the Iranians have been trying. President Raisi, in an interview with me, said, you will not be able to do this. We have ways of opposing the American-led Middle Eastern order. And the whole idea that Saudi Arabia and Israel were going to make a happy peace, that is what Iran is trying to prevent. It is helping Hamas. It is helping Hezbollah.
I'm going to let it continue. I'm sure you guys are smart enough to know why this is bullshit. I'm going to let it continue. But this is so hard to let this play more than a minute, man.
Helping the Houthis. So in that sense, the Houthis are part of this larger strategy. I don't think they, in a particular sense, gain something. It's a very good question, Anderson, because it's difficult to see what the Houthis are gaining from this. But if you think of it as the Houthis, the Hezbollah, Assad, Iran, this larger group of forces in the Middle East that are all opposed to an American-led strategic stability in the Middle East.
Which is their right. Listen to what he just said there. These people are terrorists, according to them, because they oppose U.S.-led order in the Middle East. In the middle where? The middle where? As far as I'm concerned, we're in between the Pacific and the Atlantic Ocean, the Western Hemisphere of this planet as we define it. Why the hell should the United States have say in the Middle East? These are basic questions that the Ansarullah, the Hamas, that Iran ask people all the time, and they ask this very basic question of sovereignty, and white America calls them terrorists because of it. Hamas are terrorists because they don't believe that Israel should have sovereignty over where they live. The Ansarullah are terrorists because they don't believe the United States should have sovereignty on where they live. Do you guys see how toxic our culture is? And how I can't do only a 60-hour live stream over this shit? The Ansarullah, they want us to hate them the same way they want us to hate Russia. Why? Because Russia is against NATO dominance in their areas. In Russian areas, in areas previously to the Soviet Union. And their criticism of Russia not wanting NATO expansion, our response to that was, so what? Of course Russia doesn't want NATO expansion on their borders. That is their right to. The same way that the Ansarullah has the right to resist U.S. occupation in their region. So now Anderson Cooper and CNN, the quote-unquote liberal media, according to a lot of dumb white Americans, they are saying that the Ansarullah in Iran does not have the right to protect their sovereignty over a hostile invading force. Do you guys see how crazy this is? Do you guys see why I'm losing my mind? Do you guys see why my streams are becoming more unhinged by the day? How the hell can these people stay professional right now? I can't, man. This is crazy. I'm going to play that part again. Listen to the audacity of Fareed Zakaria. I think that's his name. I don't fucking remember. Who gives a fuck? I'm going to let it play after that, and we're going to wrap up here. I have like 3 other propaganda segments. Wait till you see the John Bolton shit, fam. Wait till you see this Mike Pompeo shit. We are just scratching the surface of this, fam. We are just scratching the surface of the propaganda I've seen over the last few days.
The Hezbollah, Assad, Iran, this larger group of forces in the Middle East that are all opposed to an American-led strategic stability in the Middle East. That's the big contest.
So, General Clark, given what Fareed just said about the larger context of this, there were reports the Houthis fired a ballistic missile at a ship today, but missed. Under this scenario, do you expect more of that, more attempts at retaliation, staying in this, trying to keep this game going?
Well, I expect them to continue to do this because Iran wants them to do it. As Fareed said, this is.
They are doing it because Iran wants them to do it, and they want to convince us that the biggest threat of misinformation comes from TikTok. You think the biggest source of misinformation comes from Facebook, Meta, and X? They are purposely misleading their audience and letting their audience believe that the Houthis, called the Ansarullah, does not control a country. They are not in control of Yemen, apparently. They are working on behalf of Iran. We live in a crazy society, man. I have no words, man. I have no words. I have no words for this, man. After covering this for I've been doing it for about 3 years now. I can't believe the state that we're in right now. I can't, this is news. You guys realize they cut the best segments and they put it on their channel. That's how it works. They have they do 24-hour news. A lot of it's filler bullshit. And then they post the best of what you see on CNN on their YouTube channel. That's why I only follow the segments on the YouTube channel, because watching 24 hours is wasting your time. So this is the best parts, guys. This is the part that CNN is proud of. This is the best of their coverage. You guys realize when we show you guys these video clips, it's what they view as the best of them. I'll play one more clip. I don't know if we can finish this. I'll play one more clip when we wrap up. I think you guys get it. I think this is probably one of the best clips to show if I'm only going to show you guys one. Because if I show you guys Fox News, you guys are like, yeah, it does. Fox News. It's John Bolton on Fox News. Of course it's horrible. But this is the respected by the liberal CNN. The right wing, the dumbass populist right, they believe that the CNN is ran by a bunch of woke liberals. That's the analysis you get on Russell Brand, Alex Jones, and a lot of these unserious people, that CNN is woke, that these are liberals that rooting for World War III because that's what woke people do apparently. So on other channels, you get dumbass analysis that don't make no damn sense, that these people are woke, as they are the most bloodthirsty, unhinged criminals that we ever seen. So RBN is one of the few places where you're going to actually get an analysis on this instead of just saying stuff that make white people feel good. I'm sorry, guys. I had to stop watching Russell Brand. Like, his shit is so... He just panders to the dumbest of white populists. Like, his use of wokeness, demonizing border crisis. I'm like, God damn, what happened to you, dude? That's who I'll be sniping at, if you guys don't know. I'm, like, so disappointed in, like, his coverage and a lot of things recently. But I'm going to play a little bit last part of this part here, and I'm going to let it continue.
But Mist, under this scenario, do you expect more of that, more attempts at retaliation, staying in this, trying to keep this game going?
Well, I expect them to continue to do this because Iran wants them to do it. As Fareed said, this is Iran's quest for regional hegemony. And this is why you can't pay too much attention to what you hear from the Arab street. They're manipulated by various social media.
How can I let this play, man? Do you guys just hear what he said? Oh my God, bro. This is crazier than the first time I watched it. Oh my, he said, this is why we can't listen to the Arab street. They are manipulated by various social media, aka they are debunking your bullshit. Last clip and I'm done. I'm done after this.
Hear from the Arab street.
I want you guys to hear that whole
This is why you can't pay too much attention to what you hear from the Arab street. They're manipulated by various social media, but the leaders in Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Kuwait, Qatar, they know what the stakes are. They want America there. Even in Iraq, they want us there. So they're looking at the United States for strength and for leadership. So when we strike back, they like it, no matter what the protests say about it and all that. And all.
Yeah, bro. Like, you guys know that Russell Brand said he thought that Greg Gutfeld was funny. He thinks Greg Gutfeld is funny, fam. He has the most cringe show I've ever seen in my life. The most cringe boomer comedy I've ever seen in my life. But anyway, I'll move on. That's just another thing. Man, Russell Brand is really shit now, guys. Like, I can't do it anymore.
Also, no matter what we say about not wanting to escalate, they want escalation. Our friends in the region, they want to see a strong America. Now, they want to see us effective. So we have to really, we're engaged with military force. We better really do that targeting well. And we better not try to tip for that. So we've got to
all right, and
cap this off.
I think I covered everything I want to do on this propaganda segment. I got a lot of cover on the Yemen thing, but I really do gotta get out of here. I'm gonna read a few super chats, and then we can get prepared to leave here. Let me wonder if there's any breaking stories as well. I don't got a lot of time today. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the show. I live stream every Saturday. I'm gonna do 3 Saturdays a month. I'm gonna take 1 Saturday off. I'm probably gonna take out my birthday weekend. Sorry, actually, when the fuck is my birthday? Oh, it's this month. I literally never know until like the day the day before my birthday. Oh shit, so my birthday's on Tuesday. So yeah, I think I'm gonna take off the 27th Saturday because my birthday is on the 30th. So Other than the last Saturday this week, you guys can expect a Saturday stream every Saturday at this time. I'm also live on Tuesday evenings. So let me read some super chats when we get out here. Let me take this down. I think this was a good stream. I hope you guys have fun. I will admit, there was a pretty unhinged stream. I actually wasn't planning on getting as animated as I did on a lot of these things. Let me see if I can. Actually, I want to pull up where I'm merch. Now I want to pull up here because I actually need to get another. You guys see my hoodie I was wearing. I guess I'll plug the merch if you guys want to see more of our content here. All right, let me read a few of these super chats now, and I'll be back next week. Thanks for the 1999, Ivan. Bourgeoisie Buddhism is the worst. I'm Tibetan Buddhism in my traditional Tibetan teacher is critical of NATO. Oh, Jesus Christ, in support. I see. Also, so she said, oh, I read that wrong. I thought you said she was supportive of NATO. Oh, I read it wrong. So that's good. She's critical of NATO and supports Palestine. Okay, that's good. I read it wrong at first. I'm not religious at all, but Buddhism is a philosophy I got a lot of respect for. I've seen a lot of good things about it, especially like Shivatism. Am I saying it right? Shivatism. You know the sect that worship Shiva, Lord Shiva. They got a lot of takes about meditation. That I got into meditation in my early 20s. That came from the Sativa. Sorry, I'm not saying it right. The Sativa style. Anyway, Buddhism is dope. I don't know that much about it. I'm not Buddhist. I do know a little bit about the Shiva branch because I know the people that worship Shiva. But anyway, Sivat, is that how you say it? Oh, once again, you gotta know I read more than I actually talk about this stuff. So I read a lot about it, so I don't know how a lot of people say it. So it's called like Shivat, right? But Buddhism is dope. I don't know enough about it, and I'm not the kind of person that will convert to a religion, but I got a lot of respect for Buddhism. Thanks for the 999, John. Anderson Cooper is into fake bourgeoisie Buddhism. I don't know. I guess you guys had a conversation about Buddhism. I don't know when this came up, but I appreciate the super chats. Anderson Cooper is into fake bourgeoisie Buddhism. Make mindfulness. What the hell is bourgeoisie Buddhism? Once again, I haven't mastered Buddhism. I don't know that it's not like my specialty. But one of the part of the Shavat Buddhism that I respect, this one why I respect like the Shiva branch of Buddhism is one part of it is rejecting materialism. It's all about rejecting the primitive wants of men, and the idea is that these primitive wants of men is what lead to suffering. It would lead to sinful behavior. So if you want to follow in the lead of Lord Shiva, you engage in fasting, you reject materialism, and you reject toxic culture. Sorry, guys, I know I'm fucking saying this wrong, guys. I'm fucking sorry, guys. I read more than I listen to shit. And I'm not a good linguist. I admit that. So I'm probably saying it wrong, but I do got a lot of respect for it. Thanks for the 1999. Our being is the bomb. Caste system is based on both racism and capitalism. Like you have said, Nick, two sides of the same coin. Who else is saying this without falling into PMC identity politics? Well said, John. I appreciate the super chat. We got another one for John. I appreciate the support, guys. We got a good super chat day today. I appreciate it. I guess it made me feel better about having a long show today. It seems like you guys enjoyed it today, so I'm very glad about that. Very glad about the support on super chats. Once again, our Ben is going through like crisis mode right now. We're trying to keep a straight face on, but the latest oppression is very fucking rattling. Thanks for the 1999, John. Escalation dominance equal the dominance of Western imperialism going back to Greek and Roman empires. Literally the same turf. Greco-Roman imperialism is root for British and American imperialism. And now you guys see why I love reading super chats, because our community stay based as hell. Stay based. Thank you for super chats, John. Thank you for $10. If the ICJ verdict is negative, then we know it has been compromised. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. It's still a win in my mind. Yeah, I think, like, you guys, this is such a big moment for. Anyway, I ran about that before. No matter what happens, George Galloway had a great rant about this as well. No matter what happens, there's been a win for humanity to have a genocide and Israel finally held accountable. But that's a rant for another day. It's still a win in my mind, as every country will see it as a sham that it is, and it won't be taken seriously ever again. the hypocrisies of the system has energy, guys, and we talk about how energy need to be converted into revolutionary energy. Truth telling and evil people being exposed, it has there's a reason why it should be done. And enough energy that collected, enough revolutionary energy that's collected, it will lead to social change. That is Marxism. It's a science, guys. I must believe in this science. It's true. This is why things change. These are why revolutions happen. They don't happen out of nowhere. I think we only have a few more. I think for 50 SEK, if they think it's okay for Palestinians to move, why can't the Israelis move then? If Jewish people need a homeland because of what happened to them in the Holocaust, why don't they take Germany? Why do the Palestinians have to suffer? They didn't do it. Isn't that interesting? Zionism is so flawed. I think I'm caught up because I remember reading this one. Big shout out to Gaza West for gifting 5 memberships. Not sure I'll shout that out yet, but this was once again a longer show than usual. I don't know. Maybe I should fucking toss the idea of time limits. I've been trying to do like a 1-hour show, but Saturday's gonna be a little bit longer. Tuesday, I have my boy Andrew on. He's bringing on an activist. We're having an activist panel on Tuesday for Nick at Night. My boy Nico House is joining us on Thursday. We had Keaton join us on Thursday this week. I saw Rod join us on Tuesday, I believe. No. I had Lucy on Tuesday. Saw her on Thursday. The idea is I'm gonna have a lot of these people, a lot of people that are slept on the show as well. A lot of great guest slots. Today I had to go solo because there's so much stuff to talk about. So next time you guys see me will be on Tuesday. I will have my friend Andrew on, and we're gonna have like an activist panel on Tuesday. So make sure you guys stay tuned and have a good weekend, guys. Make sure you stay warm. Have a good one, guys.